Good morning. Welcome to CatEx TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Tuesday, December 21st, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S. It's 4:30 p.m. in London, 12:30 in Hamilton, and 10:30 in Mexico City. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-667-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CatexTV. On this day in history, in 1988, 22 years ago today, a Pan American Airways 747 Flight 103, taking off from Heathrow Airport bound for JFK in New York City, blew up at 31,000 feet over Lockerbie, Scotland, killing all on board. It was later determined that the Libyan security services were responsible for the explosion. We'll go to our main news. Well, you could see this one happening, and our compliments to Graham Chilton for putting it together. Guy Carpenter and Willis Ree are working alongside Aon Benfield as placement advisors to a new sudden oil spill consortium, which aims to deliver larger liability limit coverage for deepwater drilling in American waters. All energy retail brokers will be able to access the facility. It's going to be called SOS Cover on behalf of their clients. Aon Benfield has agreed to manage the consortium, which expands on the initial concept Munich Re announced at the Monte Carlo Rendezvous in September. Munich Re, along with other reinsurers, revealed that they're in the process of committing significant capacity to this new insurance class. Chilton said Munich Re helped enormously with the concept for the liability product, and the other leading industry players now in the oil industry are assisting in the development of the terms and conditions of the sudden oil spill facility SOS Cover. Torsten Jaworek at Munich Re said it was clear from the beginning that substantial capacity can only be provided by a joint effort of the international reinsurance industry. Where there's money to be made, even adversaries will cooperate, that's for sure. There is a lot of money to be made there. Europe still remains in weather chaos. London's Heathrow Airport is a little bit like a scene from Dante's Inferno. David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, announced that the second runway has just opened. Here's a picture of the airport. Many people have been sleeping in it for a day or two. In all fairness to the airport operators, they did have 5 inches of snow in 1 hour. It's the post-snow cleanup that has been causing some concern, if not outrage, actually, from people. Horror stories are abounding throughout Britain of people having to spend up to 5 and 6 hours in unheated trains while rescuers make their way to them. A number of cars have been isolated. Does not seem to have been any deaths yet. The problem has extended to the continent with many, many airport delays there. Supposedly it will not all even out until after Christmas, when they're expecting a bit of a thaw. In California, sunny California, the latest in a series of powerful storms is bearing down on the state, pelting mountain areas with heavy rain and leaving thousands without power. Virtually the entire state of California has been affected by the storms that started on Friday. More than 12 inches of rain have fallen in parts of the Santa Monica Mountains in the south. 13 feet of snow have fallen at the Mammoth Mountain Ski Resort. Downtown Los Angeles, since Friday, has received 5¼ inches of rain. That's more than 1/3 of their average annual precipitation. 21,000 Southern California Edison customers are without power. The hardest hit area is the city of Torrance, south of LA, with 4,600 outages. Bermuda, too, is not being spared. According to the Royal Gazette, Bermuda is tonight under a storm warning, as forecasters say the island will suffer severe weather conditions, which are due to last into tomorrow morning. The director of the Bermuda Weather Service said that the forecast calls for sustained gales, periods of heavy downpours, and thunderstorms with a risk of small hail. If you're flying to Bermuda today, it's going to be a bumpy ride if you get in at all. And in Iran, rescue teams have managed to pull all survivors from under the rubble today after a 6.5 earthquake struck a remote area in the southeastern part of the country late last night, killed 7 people. Iranian TV said that the strong quake hit a small town of Hassanabad, which is pretty near the city of Bam, which is where a 2003 earthquake killed 26,000 people. The quake was measured at 6.5. The Iranians have recorded 40 aftershocks in the region. Guy Carpenter, who we announced earlier this week, has received an independent license to operate in China. Now we know why. According to a report they came out with, in 2010, this year, China has experienced one of its worst seasons of flooding since the Yangtze River burst its banks in 1998. Carpenter says that the Chinese experienced record high water levels in 25 rivers, resulting in flooding that caused an aggregate estimated economic loss of about $52 billion. While the estimate for total insured losses is still being calculated, Carpenter reckons it will only amount to 1 to 2% of the total economic loss due to low insurance penetration levels. Well, since Carpenter recently announced that it had been awarded a wholly owned foreign enterprise broking license by the China Insurance Regulatory Commission, they obviously hope to achieve a deeper penetration of that market than 1 to 2%. Stock market in New York is up about 45 points right now. We see here that Andrew Cuomo, the Attorney General of New York, did in fact file a lawsuit against Ernst & Young in connection with the Lehman debacle, as we reported yesterday. We'll go to a word from our sponsors and come back with the rest of the news. In London, Tower Insurance Services, the runoff specialist, said that it has entered into a share purchase agreement to acquire 100% of Oslo Reinsurance Corporation for a consideration of about £4 million. Oslo has been in runoff since 1994. The transaction is subject to approval. The company expects to get that within the next quarter. Tower says that they're going to fund the acquisition costs from existing cash resources. Up in Hartford, Connecticut, The Hartford has announced that it's going to sell its third-party claims administrator, Specialty Risk Services, to Sedgwick Claims Management for $278 million in cash. Hartford expects to realize a capital gain of about $150 million after tax following completion of the deal. SRS is one of the leading third-party claims administrators in the United States. The deal is expected to close during the first quarter of next year. Sedgwick, the buyer, is a leader in providing innovative claims and productivity management solutions to major employers. Tom Bolt at Lloyd's had an announcement today. He's appointed Kent Chaplin as the new head of Lloyd's Asia-Pacific operations. Chaplin will be based in Singapore and will replace Keith Stern, now Lloyd's regional manager for the UK and Ireland. Chaplin will manage Lloyd's operations across Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and Singapore beginning in January. Chaplin had been the head of Lloyd's Claims, and he's being replaced in that position by David Lang, who's former chairman of the Claims Service Review Board. He comes from Ernst & Young. Well, we're beginning to get some information on why perhaps Mark Hurd suddenly departed from Hewlett-Packard. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that federal securities regulators have launched an investigation into Hurd's departure from Hewlett-Packard, focusing on whether Mr. Hurd leaked details of a confidential plan to have HP acquire electronic data systems. SEC officials may be concerned that Hurd slipped details of the EDS plan to Jody Fisher, the blonde marketing contractor with whom Hurd was found by Hewlett-Packard to be having inappropriate relationship with. HP did in fact complete its almost $14 billion acquisition of EDS in August of 2008. The SEC may also be looking into other aspects of Hurd's time at HP, according to the Journal. A spokesman for Hurd told the Journal that Mark acted properly in all respects and had done nothing wrong. And in Rome, Italian news reports say an explosive device has been found in a subway car on the Rome subway system. The ANSA news agency said the device was found this morning inside a train during a stop at Rebibbia on the outskirts of Rome. ANSA said that the ATAC company that runs the subway reported that the bomb disposal experts had cleared the area and were examining the device. The device had been left in a grocery bag under a seat and was fortunately spotted by a conductor during this morning's rush hour. Well, today is December 21st. It's the first day of winter. It's also the winter solstice, the longest day of the year if you're in the southern hemisphere, and if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's the shortest day of the year. If you're in the north, the day is viewed upon with some dread because of the lack of sunlight, but also to some people it's a bit of a marker of some optimism that finally, each successive day that comes will be just a tiny bit longer, and we're on the long but inevitable downslope coming into the summer. I've often wondered how I would feel today if I was a resident of South America. Probably the same way I do on June 21st here. That's all the news we have for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Keep shopping, keep supporting your respective national economy, and we'll be back to talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.